Welcome to episode number 93 of The Closing Table with Lawyers Title. I'm your host, Tamera, and today's guests, Mike Hansen and Shawn Zafarpour, are going to talk about real estate through the investor's lens right after this.
Welcome to The Closing Table with host Tamera, where we break down how to be successful in real estate and what it's really like to work in the real estate business. This is The Closing Table with Lawyers Title.
Welcome back. Today's guests are Mike Hansen, the co-founder and CSO of ZHS Investments, and Shawn Zafarpour, co-founder and CEO of ZHS Investments. And I'm excited to have them on the show today. Mike's been on the show before, so he's a returning guest. And I think it's really important to talk about wholesaling, flipping, buy and holds, and how realtors can work with these companies with some really good synergy. So they're going to provide us with some really good education today about what real estate looks like through their eyes. So thank you for joining me on the show today, guys.
Thanks for having us.
And thank you for being a really good partner of Lawyers Title. I really appreciate you guys. We've been working together for, I don't even know how long, 3 or 4?
2001.
Yeah. 2001.
Yeah. A long time.
Well, so anyway, I really appreciate you guys, and I'm glad to have you guys on the show today. So
Absolutely.
Let's go ahead and kick things off. Let's talk about how you guys find properties. Mike, are you going to take that one?
Sure. I can handle part of that. I'm sure Shawn will chirp in a little bit.
Chime in.
Yep. There's a lot of different aspects that go into it. There's, AI is a big integral part of it now for a lot of companies, including us.
Okay. Tell me how you use AI.
Really, it's to start off the conversation through text messaging. Mainly, there's some AI voice stuff out there that we don't utilize. Mainly ours is text message. Helps filter out the noise for the acquisition reps of people who are interested in a property, not interested yet, and it'll set up the appointments, do the calendaring. So it really takes a lot of the blunt force trauma, grunt work from the acquisition reps so they can get on the phone with people who are interested in selling without having to go through all of the noise. It just lets you churn through a lot more data.
So you feed it a list of phone numbers and contact information. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you acquire lists.
Yeah, it's public list.
Yeah.
Yep.
Public list.
Nothing super secretive about that part of it.
Sure. No, realtors have lists too.
No NSA or CIA or anything involved there. Just general public data list.
Sure. And then you feed it to that, and so it reaches out, does the initial text to see if someone is interested, and then facilitates from there?
Yeah, and it can answer questions. It can give background information on the company. It can answer general questions. It's kind of a learning AI bot too as well, so very conversational.
It's so interesting because I think you guys are probably ahead of a lot of people that I know using AI.
And I feel like we're like light years behind in it, to be honest with you.
And maybe in your world you are. I don't know. I mean, I'm just, if you feel that way. But I also know that.
Well, we've always felt like the personal side of real estate, and you and I have done business, Shawn, and you and all of us have done business together for a long time. And, I always tell people I'm still a farm kid from Wisconsin, right? I still believe in relationships, and I don't ever want the technology part to take completely over. I still want there to be a lot of interaction, a lot of face-to-face, and I think that'll always be a huge part of this business. At least I hope it will be.
It is. It's a relationship business for sure. Yeah, and people do business with people they know, like, and trust. So yes, for sure.
You can use the technology. I think technology is important in the supporting aspect of it.
Agreed.
How do you get through all of that information without calling 10,000 people to get a lead, or 5,000 people, whatever your KPI is.
Dialing for dollars.
Dialing for dollars, right? It is a hard, tedious, boring way to get a hold of people. Yeah. And a lot of people burn out from it just because you deal with hundreds and thousands of no's to get to a yes. And then you get 10 to 12 yeses to get an actual sale, so it's
a lot. Yeah, it's grind.
So the technology part is great in the supportive role of that, but really, I think, and Shawn, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think a lot of our business now comes from the relationship aspect of it. I mean, we get houses from wholesalers, we get houses from agents, we get houses from
I've seen you referrals.
Referrals from title companies, referrals from
a title company, the title company,
the only title company. Referrals from people who have sold us houses before, you know, and I think that's a huge testament to the company, not me, but the entire company of our reputation, because when you're buying an investment property, you're hardly ever paying top dollar,
Right.
because we're a great company, but we're a for-profit company. We still need to make money. So the fact that we can get referrals from people that we have bought houses from, and they know that, hey, I'm doing a cash sale, it's going to be a little bit less than A, B, or C or whatever, but we can get to the closing table and take care of them. So,
Yeah. Well, okay, so AI to find properties,
AI, social
and
media,
then your network, right?
networking,
Networks are such a beautiful thing. Yeah.
Realtors are a huge integral part of the business.
I love that you said that.
Yeah, well, it's true, and there's newer realtors that are a little bit new to the investment side of it, and I think there's a stigma about working with investors, and some of that's earned, through the industry, to be honest with you. And but I think realtors that take the time to learn why investors offer what they invest, or offer what they offer on the investment side, that it's not trying to be a lowball offer. And the fact that if you can stay away from just the weekend gurus, no offense, weekend gurus, but there's a lot more to it than what you're going to learn in a weekend, of working with realtors. Investors can be a great tool for realtors who know where we're coming from and why we buy, how we buy, and vice versa. I mean, realtors are a great tool for us. They're really the first people who have the most contact with people who are looking to immediately sell their property, because they're already meeting with the homeowner.
Yeah, for sure. Now, and I want to get to that, because I want to talk about the difference in offer versus what the realtor's putting on the MLS for a sales price. But let's talk about first, how do you identify a good acquisition? So, and how do you identify what you're going to do with it? Meaning, because you guys you don't just wholesale, you flip, you have a buy and hold arm to what you're doing. You guys have a capital fund also, which you're putting properties into. So how do you guys decide what you're going to do with a property, and how do you identify that it's a fit for you guys?
Shawn, you want to start?
Yeah, of course. I think, working it from kind of what the exit is, we always have multiple exit strategies, whether it's a sell, rental, or wholesale. And I think what differentiate us from other investment companies, we are using a wholesale company to feed the flip side, right? So we can either wholesale it if we decide it's a great fit for that exit strategy. If we like it, we know we're going to close on it. So we build a reputation in the market that we're going to always close on it no matter what. If we're going to go under contract, we're going to close it, take it as a flip. Depending on if, rental is really hard to pencil in right now, just because the insurance cost, the holding cost, property taxes has gone up. So unless it's a new build and, we really get into it all in with the acquisition and the rehab, it's just with the leverages that the banks are giving us, it's really hard to make sense of our rentals. So majority of our exits right now are wholesale and flip.
And flip,
and
okay.
Flip, yeah. And
I hear you on the long term.
it's very hard. A lot of people are getting
expensive.
It's too expensive.
Yeah, pencils down on that.
But yeah, I mean, going back to your first question, it's a dogfight, and thank God to Mike and Jimeno and a few other team members we have. So we have a group of team of acquisitions, and we've always been good at the relationship with networking and, like you said, the title company sending us deals, agents. But I think using the technology and AI to cast a wider net and filter through the noise, it's for sure those chatbots are helping us do that, and we continue to learn what works, what doesn't work. And also using Salesforce, some of the AI technology to have for reporting and running the data and analytics, it's definitely helping us be more precise instead of just throwing a big net out there. It's just kind of filtering through the noise. But yeah, it's working from the ARV. We always start off with that, and we run the ARVs, which is after repair value, by confirming with 2-3 agents of what we can actually. Once it's fully rehab, what can we exit it for? So we work it backwards with, okay, how much the rehab actually costs, and then what is the holding costs and the cost of capital. Then we kind of dictate what we can actually offer for that property. So it's a formula. We're not just throwing a number to lowball, it seems like, to some of the newer agents, but that's what Mike kind of referred to. It's a little bit of a learning curves for the newer agents, that they actually have a formula. They have pro formas, they have underwriting that they go off of, and once they see okay, the commissions and the insurance you have to pay, the holding costs, carrying costs, all that, rehab, then that's why the offer comes in at.
All right, let's break this down a little bit. Okay, so first of all, what type of house are you looking for right now? Single family? Are you looking for duplexes? Are you looking for fourplexes? Are you looking for apartment complex? What type of properties are good properties?
Well, that's one thing that does set us apart from a lot of people, even though the smaller rentals are very tough to pencil out right now with interest rates. Jerome Powell, if you're listening, with the interest rates being where they're at. But, duplexes, fourplexes, you get into the bigger apartment buildings, we'll still do those.
Take a look at those.
Yeah,
single family, of course.
But single family, I think right now Shawn mentioned a lot of the kind of the hidden costs that you got to pencil in. We're still paying all the closing costs. We don't do an agent commission, but at the end, we still have to pay closing costs most of the time because it's a buyer's market. We have to pay the seller's agent's commission, the buying agent commission, all the money costs while you're holding it. Even if you pay cash, there's a cost to that cash, even if it's your own cash, because now it's not invested making money. So you have to recoup all those costs. So the single family stuff, you have to be a lot more picky now.
Okay.
Generally what we look at is if a house is $300,000 and ARV, and I had $300,000 to spend, would I move my family there? Yeah. Is it a quiet, established family neighborhood? Is 80 to 85% of the buying market, would they say yes if that's their price point?
Okay.
Because emerging neighborhoods are kind of cool if you're a gambler. We're not really. I mean, we're in the risk market a little bit, of course, but we want to hedge our bets the best we can. So if it's an area that's got a mix of new construction, but still a lot of older homes, generally we don't venture into that too much because we want to know, hey, we're buying it at this price, we're going to sell it at this price. We know the formula inside and out on those single-family established neighborhoods.
So established neighborhoods that need a facelift.
Yep.
Okay, the house has been around for a while.
Yep.
Is there a price range that you're looking for? 300 to
to $1 million, depending. We'll go above $1 million unless if it's a very, very small specific pockets of.
I haven't heard you guys saying $1 million in a while.
We don't do it a lot.
I haven't heard you guys say anything above 700 in a while.
Pucker up a little bit.
Okay, all right.
Price point.
Okay, so single family, but it's got to be the right fit.
Yep.
Good schools, established neighborhood, like it's family friendly.
Yep.
Okay, something that you
not
can
backing
up
to commercial, not on a super busy road,
not looped in with new construction, so you're competing with that. Got it. Okay, so I wanted my realtor audience to understand what would be a good fit for you guys, and then let's talk about. Because a lot of the issue with trying to bridge the gap, is the realtor's market value of what the market value is according to the realtor,
right?
Okay, which is a true market value. They're not inflating it; it's just the sales price, right? And what it's worth on what the realtor knows it's worth on to trying to trade it on the MLS, right? Versus what your ARV number is going to be. There's always a gap.
Yep.
Okay, and it's probably somewhere between 10 and 30% gap.
Yep.
Am I being fair about that assessment? Okay.
Yep.
So how do we, and I want you to tell them why there is a difference and why there is a gap. And you've already started explaining that by saying, look, we got to pay both sides of the commission. We got to pay closing costs. We have to make money. We're a for-profit company.
Yep.
Okay. And there's also repairs that we have to do if we're going to flip it. Right.
Yep.
So I wanted to make sure that the realtor audience understood why there's a difference, why there is a 10 to 30% difference in that valuation of the property.
Well, I think a lot of it comes down to a really good realtor will look at days on market, will look at the condition of the home versus sales of houses that are in the like and similar condition of that house. And right now, it's not 2020 anymore.
Sure.
So there is a lot of inventory, but when you look at most of the inventory that's on the market, it's stuff that has probably been maintained very well by the seller, but it's not up to date. Like today's trending, what people will pay top dollar for. So
meaning they took care of it, but they haven't remodeled it since the early 2000s,
right,
or the 90s,
80s or 70s.
or 70s.
It might have been their parents' house, and the parents were like, "Why would I buy a new refrigerator? This one keeps it just as cold as the new."
Hey man, I don't blame them. Those things break down nowadays.
The old ones will outlive time itself.
100%. But I understand your point.
So, and then they don't realize it doesn't matter if those cabinets were from 1960 or 2010. If they need to be torn out and replaced, it takes up the same amount of room in the dumpster, and it's the same cost to replace cabinets from 1960 it is from 2010. So there's still that cost value. So, For us, and granted, most realtors are amazing at what they do. We have great relationships with a ton of realtors, but getting them to realize like, okay, we can close next week as long as title's clear. So what's more important to the homeowner? Is it fast? Is it hassle-free? Do they want certainty so they can go purchase another house? Do they not want to have to make any repairs? 8 out of 10 properties should be on the MLS, just right off the bat. But those 2 out of 10 are what makes sense for us. We can go do anything from a light cosmetic to a full gut rehab. But that's where that gap becomes a huge difference, because if you don't flip houses consistently, Shawn, 5 years ago, a 2,000 square foot house would cost us $50,000 to rehab. It costs us $95,000 for the same exact rehab. Yeah, because the materials and the labor is so much more expensive. So I think that's where that gap becomes of, okay, if I buy your house next week, it's 120 days minimum that I'm going to be holding on to that house. In that 120 days, I'm paying property taxes, I'm paying insurance, I'm paying utilities, I'm paying the GC, I'm paying for the rehab. Yeah. And then I have to hopefully get my sales price at that and close within that 120 days. If it's going to be 9 months, I've got 9 months of property taxes, insurance, and then I have to pay my listing agent. I've got to pay the buyer's agent. I've got to pay the closing costs, because buyers are going to negotiate that for the most part right now. And then if I'm going to buy a house and sit on it for 6 to 9 months, I have to make more than $5,000 in total profit. Because why would I want to work for $900 a month? You won't work for $900 a month. The real estate agent doesn't want to work for $900 a month. So there has to be enough profit in there to make sense, whether it's a cash deal, whether we're using the fund, whether we're using hard money. Because if we're using hard money to leverage it, we have to pay.
There's fees in there too.
There's monthly interest charge. There's origination fees. There's draw fees. There's a million different fees you pay throughout the process that all eat into the profit. So at the end of that 6 or 9 months, what are you willing to settle for as an investor to make it worth your while? And that's where that gap between the realistic costs of flipping between an investor's eyes, the homeowner's eyes, and the real estate agent eyes. And the real estate agent's got a tough job because we don't have emotional attachment involved in the house yet. We want to do what's right for the seller. We want them to win and move on to the next house, get their family reestablished, do whatever they need to do. But we need to make money. The homeowner generally has a lot of emotional attachment to the house, but that doesn't mean you're going to get a higher price because you're emotionally attached to the house.
Exactly. Yes.
Your sales price is what the market will pay for your house.
That's right.
And whether it's an investor, an end buyer that's just wants to move in with their family, they determine what the value of the house is, not the emotional attachment. So I feel for realtors, because if they've got a house that really needs to go to an investor, whether it's us or another company out there, of really explaining to the homeowner in a tactful and polite way, like, hey, yeah, you've maintained your house, but it needs $100,000 in rehab, my cost.
Right.
So if I'm paying $100,000 and Shawn's got to line up the GCs and the money for that, that's not, if you go, I'm going to date myself here, but you looking up in the yellow pages to find some GC to come rehab your house, that's probably going to cost you $200,000, or $150,000. So unless you're willing to put all that money in and do that while you live there, which...
And you're paying retail cost, right? And you may not get all your money back out of it.
Right. So there's a lot that goes into it on that aspect, but our job is to, especially working with the realtor, showing the realtor why that number is our number. I'm happy to work it backwards. Shawn will work it backwards for him. We're fully transparent. Like, if I'm going to buy $1 million house, I got to make $150,000. I just have to. Because the holding cost is $7,000-8,000 a month in interest payments when you're rehabbing that house, and I'm not going to take $1 million cash. I don't know any investor will just take $1 million of their own cash and just go buy the house cash to invest it. It just doesn't make any logical sense to do that. They're going to leverage somebody else's money. Well, there's a cost to that, and the higher the price of the house, the higher that leverage cost is.
And I think this is a really...
Shawn does a really good job of talking me out of some houses I really want.
I really like this house. But it's just math. Yeah.
He's got to pencil them out and make sure that they make sense. So.
Well, and I think this is a really important conversation, right? Because unfortunately, when I do talk to realtors about wholesalers or investors, a lot of it is what you're explaining. It's a low ball. All they're going to do is low ball.
Yep.
Right. and there's not a really good taste in their mouth about working with wholesale investors. And look, I think some of it's justified because
I do too.
because there are some really unfortunate, shady wholesalers and investors out in the world, right? It's completely justified. But what I do think that they have to understand is there are good companies that do this, that want to have a good relationship with realtors, that see the value in working with realtors, and we are willing to provide them with the education to justify what they're bringing as a value to the house, right? Yep. And so I think those conversations, while the education arm of this for you guys is a lengthy process, right? Because you got to educate one-on-one, right? You don't have a platform to well, now you do.
This is a
today.
platform.
Thank you.
You're doing that today.
Today, you do. But, you need to be able to have that educational conversation. So I think it's really important. I mean, you guys want a good reputation with realtors. When you get on those investment Facebook groups and you see all these conversations about people that just absolutely have no idea
and I
what
think
they're doing.
one thing we do well is we respect, let them be good at what they do. And I think just understanding the other side of it, the investment side is the key. Like you said, it's just, it's math. If the performer doesn't pencil in, I mean,
if the numbers don't work, the numbers don't work.
The numbers don't work. And I think what we've done done a good job of the last 6 years is understand there's emotional side, there's emotional ties. These are distressed sellers, distressed properties, and work well with the homeowners to make the deal work. Like, we've sent our, movers to move them out, or send a cleaning crew. Mike has sent his sons that, last minute to help them get out of a situation. So there's always
kiddos over there.
Oh yeah.
He's done it.
You're going to help move today.
Yeah.
They don't love it when I do, but they go and do it. Yeah.
I think leaving a situation better than we found it, and I think it's always helped us in the long run. There's always a win-win if everybody's fair, and I think the shady wholesalers, investors, they come in cycles, and especially during these times, these are the times that those investors that put a lipstick on a pig or just put paint on things. We don't do that. I mean, our
no, you guys have a full crew that
and thank God to our other partner Kyle and the GCs that
the
work
silent
with us.
one,
the silent assassin.
He doesn't come on things like this.
The other whale that's missing, always not showing his face, but he's out there. But I think we've been lucky to have the crews that have been working with us for a long time to understand our standards and expectations. Like, we've made GCs rip out tiles that just weren't installed straight, and other investors that just don't go through that. And I think during these downturns or reset or storms, I think those investors work themselves out, and I think our product will stand out because we've never just put paint on things.
No, and I think your remodels are really pretty.
We go, we do all the electrical, all the plumbing, we do all the majors. And it does cost more. And sometimes, we're not the highest offer, but we show up and our numbers, make sense, and we can close on it, and we can do that repeatedly. So, I mean, and that's the conversation I have with realtors when properties cross my desk, and I'm going to send them over to you guys. I prep the realtor. I say, look, here's the thing. They will close on the house. They will make you an offer. Okay. They will want to walk the house, but they'll make you an offer probably within 24 hours. Yep. Now you have to understand it's going to be X amount percentage lower than what you've got it listed for right now. Are you okay with that? Because I'm not going to send it to you guys if I'm just wasting everybody's time, right? Yeah. So if they're prepared for that, but there's reasons for that, and we've talked about what the reasons are, right?
And I think Shawn's mentioned it too. Is there are some not great characters in the industry, but that's in any industry too, right? So, but I think if I can tell anybody, and I'll put on my weekend guru hat here of, don't be ashamed of being a wholesaler. We buy from wholesalers. Yeah. We wholesale some of our properties. But when we go into a negotiation, I can give them 2 offers. I can give them the offer. I know I'm going to close that no matter what, because if we can't wholesale it, we're going to flip it ourselves. Yeah. That's this offer. I'll give you substantial earnest money. I'll give you no option period, and we can close on your timeline. That's the one offer. You've got these other offers on the table. Well, those offers are generally from people who are going to try to then sell it to companies like ZHS. And that's generally going to be a higher offer than what we have, but it's going to be an extended option period so they can market the property out. Yeah. And then if they can't get it under contract, they're going to come back and try to get a price reduction. Yeah. And usually it's a substantial price reduction because They're just trying to get it locked up because that's the number you want, rather than taking the time to say, hey, I understand where you're coming from from that number, but here's what we can pay with the guaranteed closing on it. And if that's not, and then you want the higher offer, I can try to match it because we wholesale. But I'm going to need an option period, and I'm going to send it out to my investors as well, and I'm still going to try to close on it for us. But I'm going to need to probably walk 4 or 5 of our GCs through to get the lowest bid, no matter what. Make sure we didn't miss anything. A full-on inspection of the property to make sure we didn't miss anything. So if you're a newer wholesaler or another wholesaler company, just be transparent with the sellers of, hey, I'm going to line up a buyer for you. I might not be your end buyer. It's okay to say that to a seller or to an agent, but I've got a good list if you do have a good list. Or, hey, I work with ZHS. I'd like to bring them through.
I think it's always interesting when wholesalers don't want to disclose that they're assigning the property.
I think so.
I really don't understand
It may not
why
be a
that's
good
big
fit
deal.
for us. Maybe somebody wants to do a buy and hold in South Dallas or Irving, and maybe it's not good. So our job is to find solution. We're a solution-oriented company, and I think as conscious capitalists, if we find ways for everybody to win, we're always going to be fed, and that's how we've always done it. I think what other wholesalers, fall in a trap of is let me lock it up at a high price and then go back and retrade the deal, which they do it on multifamily, they do it on wholesalers, and they go back and ask for the price reduction. Well, they've already dragged the seller along, weeks and weeks, and the seller's kind of, just out of options. And what we do a good job is we do the underwriting very thorough up front. Mike does an amazing job, sends it to me, and we're polar opposites, and we kind of always go back and forth. Mike can see a 700 ARV. I'm like, well, I can see 675.
I can see that.
So that's very frustrating at times for me and Mike.
I'm guys well enough to know that is a true
100%
story.
accurate.
But we've also known each other since 2019. So after 6 years, we've learned that that's what's helped us keep, healthy throughout the years. Because if we just always think everything is going to go well, it's not going to go well. And if we always think worst case, we're not going to take on any properties. If it was up to me, well, I'm being dramatic, but
Not very.
but it's being conservative, but yet we are in risk business and eliminating all the ifs, and we always have contingencies because something always goes wrong. Some plumbing is off, something runs. The city takes longer with permits, and we've sat months and months and months just waiting on some cities around Dallas for permitting. So we do build in those numbers, but it's all so we don't have to go back retrade. We don't have to push the closings. And we hit our numbers, because if we hit our ARVs and the house is going to sell, buyers always going to buy. They just get pickier. We've said that since day one.
Yeah.
But I think putting out a good product, taking care of our people, and that means agents, that means our GCs, that means even the seller being happy. I mean, we've had so many cases that we went out of our way to make sure the sellers were happy. We sent movers. We did so many things that they referred us to another, somebody else. Hey, I'll work with these guys. They did what they said they were going to do. They'll be a good candidate. And sure enough, we came through, so our network route system, it's continued to build. AI definitely has added a new addition to that. But yeah, I think it's just buy right now. Built in extra months of carrying costs because days on market, and that's something we, going back to your second question, we have to know the months of inventory for every pocket.
Everybody
and
needs to know months of inventory.
Yes. Days on market.
Sell anything right now.
So we kind of predict on how long we're going to be into that. 4 to 6 weeks of construction. Okay, we're going to need, instead of 14 days for last however many years, now it's 3 months, in some cases 4 months, and then you have the financing period by the time that we go under contract and the close. So all of that is, we're going to have to think about those things, and sometimes we take it down as a flip and it doesn't sell what we thought, so we have to kind of put a rental in it. So those are the options that we're looking at. We're looking at corporate housing, some of the properties, and turning some of the houses to rentals. So
I have a good connection for you on that. I'm going to get you guys connected after
That would be amazing, actually.
podcast. Yeah. Actually, they were a guest on my podcast already.
Oh,
awesome.
So
We will love that.
yeah, they're amazing. Texas Corporate Homes. The Shawn Gallagher was on the podcast, and that's what they do.
Okay.
Corporate
We'll love
rentals,
to get their
midterm
contacts.
rentals, which is a really good. It's actually a sexy option right now. I mean, it's sexier than long-term rentals, which aren't even doing anything right now. I mean, you can get some appreciation from them, but you're not getting
These are
cash flow
fully
on them right
rehab
now.
homes in great neighborhoods.
It's tough.
If people are not buying, they're going to have to rent, and all these companies, corporations moving here, they're going to have to live. So corporate housing, we think, is a great option. Maybe Airbnbs if it's in a right location near.
Airbnbs just sound like such a pain in the.
It is.
Bleh.
I'm not fixing toilets and I'm not fixing.
Yeah,
fence.
I
It's not my
can't
strong
with
suit.
the Airbnbs, but I think the midterm rental it's something that I've looked at. I told them I need to put a pause on pulling the trigger on anything, but it's definitely an option. Look, they were very candid with me also because I'm a finance buyer. I'm a little bit different than you guys, but they said you'll break even or cash flow a little bit on it right now, which every long term I've looked at is a negative cash flow, and I don't want to fund the properties. I mean, I know there's strategies where the equity game is all that matters to some investors, but I'm not interested in funding my properties. So I'm interested in my properties making money so they can fund me.
That's the goal.
So I like things that fund me.
Yes. Well, and I think, that kind of goes back to where we look for properties too. And Shawn mentioned it, we're putting a great product out there because we're not cutting corners on the rehab. And Kyle's teams do such a great job.
No, your rehabs have become really, not that they weren't nice before, but I am a fan of that blue tile in the bathroom. Okay. I like that a lot.
Well, seafoam green.
Yes, it's really beautiful.
Yeah.
So you guys need to go check out their properties that they have. It's your own group, right? It's ZHS Investments Facebook group. You guys, or their business page, go look at their flips because their end product is a really nice option for buyers.
And
they've done the rehabs really well.
Yeah, and if you're looking for corporate lease, thank you, by the way. For
You're
the kind
welcome.
words. But if you are looking for that corporate lease option, most of our houses are with, short driving distances of major corporation centers. So it makes a lot of sense. And it goes back to that original point of what neighborhoods do you buy in, of being specific of great, quiet, established single-family neighborhoods. So if it does need to turn into a corporate lease or a long-term rental, there's always a backup plan.
You got a lot in Richardson.
Yep. Richardson, Plano. Yep. Mainly 635 in North Lake Highlands as well.
Yeah.
Yep. We got a couple down in Lake Highlands that we're listing this week. So, having that backup plan, but I think that's the other important reason why you pay attention to the areas that you're going to flip is what's the backup plan, worst case scenario, because there's things that are out of our control no matter what we try to do. We can't control when the Fed lowers the interest rate unless we're going to have an election and they're going to drop it.
Really, Mike? I'm going to need you to work on that.
Sorry. I'll do my best part, but I'm not a fan of the Fed right now.
I mean, come on, Mike.
But there's things that go outside of our control. No matter how many I's you dot and T's you cross, you still need to have a backup plan. And Shawn is great on that side of it. Kyle puts out a great product. But if for some reason it decides to sit, for whatever reason, we've penciled in multiple different strategies to get back out to investors.
Look, all my realtor friends have houses that are sitting right now. It's just the reality of where we're at. And I have conversations every day about what are you hearing, Tamera? What's going on with your other clients? And I'm like, we're all in the same boat right now. I don't have super good news for everybody. I mean, we all know what the answer is. A house is only worth what a buyer is willing to pay for it. And so it's price. It's always price. But boy, that can hurt. If you have to lower it, it can hurt.
I think too, it's realizing that unlike 2019 through 2021, the first half of 2021, you had to go into a house with your checkbook open, ready to make an offer 30 seconds after
a ridiculous offer.
Well over asking, right? Where now you can basically, for the most part, in most neighborhoods, you can say, I'm going to go look at 10 houses, narrow it to my top 5. Now I'm going to go look at those top 5 again, narrow it to my top 2 or 3, and I'm going to go look at them again. You just never had that option before. So, and we're working on their schedules. They don't work on our schedules, unfortunately.
Yeah, but the problem with that is, yes, it is a buyer's opportunity to pick the house that they want, but buyers aren't out in the market. It's too expensive. Money is too expensive. Cost of living in a house is too expensive. But also the other challenge with this is rent rates. I mean, I just read an article yesterday about how the Colony, Frisco, and one other city were the highest rent rates in the area. I mean, the rent rates are through the roof too. I like that for the Colony. I have a house there, but
If people are not buying, they're gonna have to rent. They're gonna have to live.
Well, but some of these rent rates are more than mortgage payments, So
Well, I've seen a lot of realtors that, when rates first started going up, it seems like forever ago, but when they started going up is buy now, date the rate, marry the house, right? But there's actually a very sound logic to that, because if right now, if you are looking, whether it's one of our houses or somebody else's house, it is a great time to buy, even though interest rates suck, if you can suck it up
until they come down
for a year.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to say that anymore.
Or longer.
Yeah, I don't want to say that anymore because we don't know.
From all indications, or longer,
yes,
right? If you can suck it up for a year to 5 years at a little bit higher payment, you're still going to be way ahead of where you'd be if you waited for interest rates to come down, because you're dealing with just the natural appreciation of still 100 to 300 people a day moving to the Dallas-Fort Worth area. There's only so much land available. So houses are naturally going to appreciate for the most part, or at least hold steady. But what happens is when everybody waits for the rates to drop it's the magic rate.
Then it's going to be a frenzy.
It becomes
so many different creative ways to drop your mortgage rates. 3-2-1, buy it down 2-1. I mean, we'll be more than happy to somebody come in and say, hey, give us 10, 15,000 concession towards a 2-1 or 3-2-1 buy down, which to get 3% off their first year, 2% second year. Hopefully by the third year they get to refi.
Yeah.
So I think there are different ways. I think agents and people in the industry, we just have to educate. The buyers are going to have to buy. I mean, if they're not buying, they're going to pay high rents. And like, as we know, rates hopefully drop, like we said, in the next 3 years. So there are different ways to get around that, get their payments lower. And we're motivated. I mean, as I'm sure other flippers, other investors are motivated too. So I think, finding different ways to, I know we've talked about sellers financing and somebody else brought it up again the other day. I mean, there are ways around it. I think we just, all in the industry, these uncertain times, it just calls for everybody helping each other out.
A lot of education and working together.
Exactly. Working together, agents and title companies and trades and everybody going to have to just work together to ride out the storm. And that's this. We're all in the same ocean. We're all in the same storm. And I think continue to do business the right way. Continue to price right, give a good product, and find solutions for the buyers to come on and take advantage. I mean, we've listed some of the properties with a 3-2-1 buy down, but it just doesn't seem like the agents educate the buyers enough on some of those opportunities with the mortgage side.
Yeah. Well, this is a great place to stop for today. I think we've really educated the audience on how you guys are willing to work with the realtor world to kind of help us all be successful and create wins. And I really appreciate that outlook, that perspective. And so thank you guys for sharing that with us today. I really appreciate my partnership with you and look forward to having you guys back on the show. So Shawn and Mike, thank you so very much for being my guests.
Anytime you want us.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
I'm going to volunteer, Shawn, anytime you want us.
Anytime. Okay, well, I appreciate that. And I really enjoyed the conversation today, and I know that the realtor audience is going to enjoy listening to it too. So thanks for sharing your perspective.
Thank you.
And that's a wrap on episode number 93. Again, I'm your host, Tamera Gady, of the podcast, The Closing Table with Lawyers Title. If you like my content, you're really going to love my escrow team. So give me an opportunity to talk to you about your title needs, and you guys make it a great day.